folks, grab a seat and pour your drink neat as Whiskers and Whiskeys present Tales of the Trophies, the Big Ten's greatest rivalries. I'm Mike, with me as always, EJ, and our good friend Whiskey Tang Joe. What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? For all the listeners there that couldn't see me, I just did a nice little slide into view.
Yeah, our own personal style. Chris Collinsworth. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I am fresh off of a nice little vacation. Didn't see a lot of college football this weekend. Did some research. We went to Maine. Maine is not a notorious town for college football. They have great hiking, great state, great hiking, great beer, great food scene, but just none of the breweries had like college football on. So I'm going to rely on you guys a lot. I have some thoughts. I went back and reviewed some things. So I have thoughts, but I'm going to rely on you guys a lot to kind of catch me up on the weekend. But also I am like salivating looking over at my drink right now. So can we get into that right away? Because it looks incredible.
Let's do it. So on the docket this week, we've got, it's not completely tied to Minnesota. There is some relation here. It's called the Bootleg. And this is a cocktail that's basically like a spiked lemonade mojito. And I don't really have too much based on why it's connected to Minnesota. It's apparently their signature cocktail, but also it said it was a Prohibition era cocktail that they made, and it has multiple ingredients in it that I'll get into, but those are meant to mask the booze taste and smell during Prohibition. So that's kind of all I got for the history, but let's get into what it is. So the ingredients are 2 ounces of Bootleg mix, and Bootleg mix is half a cup of lemon juice, 1/4 cup of lime juice, 1/4 cup of agave nectar, or you can substitute with something else that's sweet, like a sugar, like honey or something else.
I did
similar.
Honey. Yeah, okay. I did honey.
And then you're going to want 2 tablespoons of mint. So those are your ingredients. And there's also some variants that I've seen that you can use frozen, like a canned frozen lemonade or some like limeade to use. We didn't do that. I don't know if any of you guys did. I didn't, but that's another option that I've seen pretty popular in these drinks. So how you make it is you're going to take take the blend. So you want the lemon juice, the lime juice, and then your mint, and you're going to put all of that
and your sugar, right?
And your agave. Yep.
Yeah.
Put all that into a blender, blend it up with some ice. And then you're going to have, that's your bootlegger mix. So you take that mix, pour that over ice, and you're going to want equal parts liquor and then club soda added to it. Again, with a club soda, you can kind of substitute with, I don't know, Sprite or
I did seltzer.
So like any kind of seltzer. Yeah. Maybe an alcoholic seltzer if you want to really double down.
Really booze her up.
So that's it. Yeah, you just pour it over ice and you're good to go. It does say it should be served with the straw because you've got the mint, the finely chopped up mint in there.
Yeah.
So now that I believe we're showing this one on YouTube too, right?
Yep.
The video. So I'll go ahead and show it. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but my light is a little bit better this time.
You look glorious, man.
Yeah, Studio's had some upgrades.
Trying to be anonymous.
Mine is worse. I had to shift locations.
So we'll post pictures, but for anyone that can see us, this is what mine looks like. Kind of looks like a mojito.
Just like the recipe picture, dude.
That's what we're going for. And I will say, she's not going to be happy. My wife Anna helped me with it, and she made it for me. She opened the club soda, and I was like writing down notes and stuff for this. She opened the club soda, and it went everywhere in the kitchen, all over the phone.
Same thing literally happened to me. I just bought the club soda today, and wasn't even thinking because it doesn't look like it's like I didn't shake it or anything. All over. That's why I was like down here.
And I did forget to mention too, with this drink, like the other substitutes, it can be made with gin, vodka, or bourbon. So I went with bourbon. I don't know if you guys did the same, but going with our theme of whiskey, I went with the bourbon. But again, you can go with the gin or the vodka if that's what you're interested in.
Liquors for divorced women on diets. Yeah.
Yep. So if you guys are ready, let's give it a try.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. You like my manly straw?
Ooh. I don't have a cute straw. I don't have a straw. That's super refreshing. Whenever we were in Maine, we had blueberry lemonade, like fresh blueberry, like made notorious for blueberries, not college football. They like ground them up and put it in lemonade, and it was delectable. And so I was really craving this, and it's really good. I like the mint. It definitely adds something to it. Like lemon and mint, slept on combo, and I like this a lot.
So another part of the straw I forgot to mention, you're supposed to, you don't really shake. It's not shaken. It's not really anything until you put that, the liquor and everything, the mix in, you use the straw to stir it up. So that yours might be a little different. You might get some kind of different flavors as you go. But
yeah, I gave it a little swirl.
You can see all the chunks and everything when you mix it up. It's got a lot packed in there.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah, I definitely I didn't have any bourbon, so I had to use a rye, and the mix definitely, I can see why they wanted to use the mix during Prohibition, because I feel like it definitely does kind of take the smell away from the alcohol and a little bit of like that really heavy bite.
Well, and mint is like notorious for its smell too. So like you can't get, I made mine strong, so I get like a little bit of the bourbon on it, but yeah.
And it makes it kind of, it's more of like a lemonade. That's what I get when I smell it or drink it. I get like that lemonade, like citrusy, sour. But that's the kind of drinks that I like. My favorite drink is the caipirinha. I don't know if you guys have had that. I know, I think I made it for EJ before.
Yeah. Wait,
heavy on the lime. It's got the Brazilian. It's kind of like rum. It's called cachaca. I'm probably butchering that, but it's similar to this. Very sour, and it's got lime in it.
I drank a ton of that. We went to Costa Rica for our honeymoon, and I drank so many guaparinas. Like it was delicious. They made it out of like it was close to, it was their closest thing to like a whiskey that they make there, because it's made from cane sugar. I assume that it's yeah.
It's hard to find here. You don't, especially good ones. The best one I had was in Portugal, and we went back multiple times. I was there with two buddies, and it was just so pulpy and very thick. You had like a double straw because it was so like thick and hard to drink. It was delicious, but
yeah,
we'll have to make one of those one of these times.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we should.
Well, let's move into, this is great. I love the drink. It's the bootleg also, as you know. Definitely a play.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that part, the bootleg.
So that's what I thought. I didn't even take it to Prohibition. I just was like thinking about Big Ben falling on the ground trying to bootleg, because
trying to naked bootleg too.
He wasn't even trying naked bootleg. He was just trying to pass the ball.
Just trying to run.
God, I'm not.
All right. Well, why don't we get into our college football recap from this last weekend? There was a lot going on. Next weekend, there's even more going on. So why don't we transition into that? So recapping the Purdue Cannon. So that's the trophy we talked about last episode. And honestly, for me, the game didn't disappoint from the standpoint of a close rivalry game.
And that was one of the few games I actually got to watch, because like I said, when we went to these breweries, there just weren't like TVs in general. I don't know.
Or betting.
People made so yeah, there was no betting. Thank God. We'll get to that. But no, the one place that we went to did have TVs, and right in front of us, we just sat down and it was on commercial, and then the Purdue Illinois game happened to be on. I'm like, oh, look at that.
All the games.
I know, but that was my first thought, because when we got there, it was 6-6. I was like, wow, it is definitely, as far as a rivalry game goes, you're right. Close game. Like it wasn't the most exhilarating football, because it's not like it was even like a defensive battle. I just think that those teams are both not like
I would give but I would still give some credit to the defenses, because you can still be a bad defense and make a bad offense look good.
Yeah, give up a big play, especially like a pick six or a fumble that's taken to the house. Yeah,
sure. No, I actually, my notes here is I thought the defenses played pretty great. Again, like I think a part of it was the weakness of the offenses, but at least they did their jobs, and both teams were get sacks, tackles for losses. I thought both defenses looked great. I also made a note here that Illinois kicker was, as Stephen A. Smith would say, is a bad man, because in college football, which baffles me, there are way too many programs that don't have kickers, like real kickers, right?
Alabama was one of them for years.
Right. It's crazy to me. And Illinois had a kicker that was capable of kicking in the 40s and the 50s, and that's especially in college football. And if your offense isn't any good, like that's very valuable. And I thought he looked great.
Oh, yeah, so I think like a 40-yarder should be pretty standard for college level.
I think once you get to 45, it's sketchy.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen.
40 to 45 on some programs. I would even say like Michigan State's kicker, for instance. Like, I mean, he's solid below 40, but after 40, I mean, it can be a little sketchy. And then after 45, I mean, it's almost just might as well just go for it at times. So.
And I did love during the game how we got a couple of shots. I text you guys whenever I was at the bar, a couple of shots of the cannon there, like the Illinois players holding it, everything out. That was so damn cool that they include that in the broadcast.
Yeah, no, I thought that was awesome. For those of you that didn't catch it, the game was very close. It ended up coming down to Illinois having the ball in the waning seconds in plus territory just outside of the red zone with a chance to win it. And they definitely had a one shot in particular. I think it was the third down play where Peters, the ex-Michigan quarterback, just missed him. He had his guy, would have went for glory and just overthrew him. And then, the fourth down play was pretty terrible. And why he's not at Michigan and at Illinois.
He had some injuries too that I think factored into that. Even this year, I think he was out with a concussion for a game or two.
Yeah, I think the first game against Nebraska, I think
he was knocked out of that one.
Yeah.
And in Michigan, he had a few different injuries that didn't help his career there.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it came down to the team that scored a touchdown, and in this game, it was Purdue that ended up getting the touchdown and early in the fourth quarter, and that proved the difference. So. And then, kind of like Mike mentioned, it was really cool to see, especially at the end of the game as well, the Purdue players having the cannon off of the holster and it doesn't look like they were aiming at anyone, but they definitely had it in hand.
When they got in the locker room, they were.
All right. So moving on to some of these other games. We'll just tackle two close calls here. And it's two teams that we're pretty familiar with, and both Michigan and Michigan State had closer games than they should have.
Yeah. So I don't know. You've probably got something to say about your team. I've got something to say about both.
Let's hear it.
Watching both, I did catch both games. And when I was watching them, I just kept thinking, this is that meme of the three different Spider-Mans like pointing at each other. Like they're the same team at this point. Like both have super strong run games. Their defenses can be solid, but aren't always. And I looked at the stats, and I knew Michigan was clear as day. They didn't score at all in the second half. It was 23 at halftime, and they didn't put up any points in the second half. That's unfortunate for sure. And then I looked at the Michigan State stat line, and it wasn't the whole second half, but I think it was like, was it quarter 1 and 3? They didn't score at all. So it's like these teams are so close. Like stats and what's that?
It was worse than that. Oh, I can go over that.
I thought they scored in the second and fourth.
They did.
Well, and then overtime.
It wasn't the offenses.
Oh, well, scoring, but still, like the team as a whole wasn't putting up points in 2 quarters, and that's a problem. Like going forward, you need to consistently score even in 3, hopefully 4 quarters. So I see these teams as very similar, very strong run games, and it's going to be interesting once that Paul Bunyan comes up.
You know who else didn't score in the second half? Which I was catching up on games and just like reading how things happen. I didn't realize that Oklahoma State, who upset Kansas State, which this goes into, it's a good thing I couldn't bet because I absolutely would have taken Kansas State in this game. They didn't score in the second half at all either. And the game was in Stillwater. I was like, holy cow. Like that's I love betting on Big 12 overs and I love betting on Oklahoma State. I feel like Mcconaughey just has that program. They're always going to be over. But the fact they didn't score at all in the second half, that was crazy. I didn't realize it was the same with Michigan.
Yeah, they got shut down by Rutgers. Like Schiano's got that program.
Yeah, I bet Rutgers. And again, we talked about this a little bit, Joe. Like, I have been every week. I bet Rutgers to cover, and that's gone well. And then anytime Michigan was a double-digit favorite, like around 20, I bet against them, and they've covered.
Yeah.
So this week, I text you. I said, "Well, I'm not betting it, but if I were,
no, you jinxed them.
I was going to take." Well, I mean, yeah, I said I was going to take Michigan to cover. I'm glad I didn't because they didn't cover. But I mean, I did think they were going to win. But Rutgers has like a really good team. So even though I was planning to take them to cover, just because I felt like I didn't want to miss out again. Like it was a real dichotomy. It's like the two teams that have been so consistent for your betting in the first couple weeks. It's like,
yeah, they're playing mind games with you.
Yeah, they are.
So go ahead.
I was going to just say my perspective of both games, because I caught some like extended highlights of the Michigan game. I think at least I can speak for Michigan State. Obviously being 4-0 is beyond what people could have expected in Tucker's second year. And I think all of us expected a game that they were just going to scuffle, right? And they're probably still going to lose to maybe like a Rutgers or just a game that you don't expect them to lose. I think it's still bound to. Obviously, this was slated to be the game, and they were fortunate enough to have some really good play at the end. But Joe, to what you were saying, it was worse than what you even could imagine. We only had 14 total yards in the second half in offense and only 1 yard in the fourth quarter. So,
and I did see, going back to kind of last week,
I
did see they seemed, from what I saw, to shut down Walker pretty good. Like he wasn't really, from what I saw, I think at the end he did make a difference in overtime for sure. I think he got that last like 13-yard run to the goal line. He almost got in, so he did come through. But majority of that game, for the first 4 quarters, I don't think he had more than 40 yards.
No. And what I will say, though, to Nebraska's credit is, and this was something I think people highlighted earlier in the year, but their defense is pretty solid. Their front seven is good. I mean, they held Oklahoma to 23, and that's pretty hard to do on the road in Norman. So I think Nebraska is going to be one of those teams that if you aren't able to play good defense, and that's what Michigan State was luckily able to do, is keep the score low. The defense did a great job keeping them in it until a punt return saved them, and then ultimately a big defensive play in overtime helped seal it for them. But yeah, Nebraska is going to be one of those teams. Rutgers is going to be one of those teams where if you don't have your A game, they will beat you. And lucky for the Spartans, it's that learning experience without the L. So next week they got Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers. They are an explosive offense.
That'll be an interesting one.
Yeah, don't count out the Hilltoppers.
Oh no, I'm not. They have a quarterback Zappy that's thrown like averages, I think, almost 400 yards a game.
You sure he doesn't play for Texas?
Yeah.
Sounds like a Texas name.
Yeah, Zappy. So no, it's definitely nerve-wracking. I think this was a good thing for them, though, to kind of get their butt kicked. I think the offense will be, the defense for Western Kentucky is not nearly as good as Nebraska's.
And on the other side, for that Michigan Rutgers game, the dynamic is interesting because Michigan just beat Rutgers barely, and then Rutgers turns around and plays Ohio State next weekend, who seemed to turn around last week against Akron, and I'll get into that a little bit later when we talk bets. It wasn't in my favor, so this will be an interesting kind of couple of weeks for the Big Ten and for the leaders, and for Ohio State, Michigan State, all the, kind of the three of them.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about, when we get down, I want to talk a little bit about the playoff picture, because I do think I think October's really interesting. I think that the Big Ten's a really solid conference. Rutgers is solid. I think Maryland's super solid. Like, and those are going to be challenging games.
Some lower level, there have been lower level teams that are making a push to get better and coming for the top.
And we're going to see what Penn State's all about, because and Ohio State too, because I mean, we'll get to this a little bit more, but I think the Big Ten is really pretty wide open. So
sure,
yeah, we'll see. So some statement wins here.
Speaking
the first
of the Big
one,
Ten.
Yeah, Wisconsin against Notre Dame. And my biggest takeaway, which I watched the majority of this game, is I think it's time to end the benefit of the doubt for Graham Mertz. He was a 5-star recruit, the highest rated recruit to ever go to Wisconsin. And even though he's only technically maybe a full year, a little bit less than a year into starting, I don't see it. And because of that, their offense is terrible. Their defense is fantastic, and the defense kept them in the game for as long as they possibly could. But that offense is just absolutely dreadful. And Mertz started to kind of melt down after a while because I think he started to panic.
I kind of compare Mertz to Bo Nix. I feel like they're similar players where they just can't they don't seem to succeed in the big moments or the big games where they need to. They're kind of like they get their stats when they can, when they're playing lower level teams, and they're bigger names. They were big recruits, and then kind of flopped.
Yeah, they have the tools, just haven't put them together. I think you can see the tools in a play here and there, but it was terrible.
Notre Dame was benched, by the way, this weekend.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
I mean, the Notre Dame did play much better than they have. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They definitely showed up for the game. Myers is a problem. Their big tight end is a problem. Like they call him Baby Gronk.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it's hard to say because Gronk's arguably one of the best tight ends of all time, but this guy's good. He's very good. He's very big. I can see the comparisons.
But big shoes to fill, but he's on his way.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great. Only another little note is Notre Dame wore a little bit different jerseys than they usually do. I don't know if they're alternates, if they're old, but they're the same blues, but they had like a little pattern with the Notre Dame on the side, on the sleeves. And I kind of like that. I mean, I like their gold helmets. I don't really like Notre Dame at all because they used to be such big rivals with Michigan State, but I don't know, something I noticed. I kind of thought those jerseys look kind of clean for them. And then ultimately for Wisconsin and for Michigan, this is it. I mean, almost for Michigan, it's a bad thing that Wisconsin got embarrassed because they're going to give everything they have at home. So it's going to be a great game between those two schools.
I feel like both teams were kind of like it was a win for Michigan, but I feel like they were both kind of embarrassed the same week. So hopefully it's the same outcome for the Wolverines as well. We'll see.
Yeah, that'll be great. It's kind of like the immovable force. And
unstoppable force,
the unstoppable force and the immovable object, because you have Michigan's run game that's been so stellar, and then Wisconsin's defense, and something's going to give. And maybe it's just Michigan's defense makes a couple of plays on Wisconsin's offense, and that's what happens. But it'll be really
the defense
interesting.
did look pretty good. They gave up some points in the second half, but again, you gotta bend, don't break. And this will be Michigan's first game away this season, so also a big factor.
And they're underdogs. And not to bring up this point, because I know
where you're going.
You know this stat, but for everyone else, Jim Harbaugh is 0-11 in games as a Michigan head coach.
Michigan's a dog in this game?
Yeah, 1 point dog.
Yeah, it's
close. But he is not. And I think I heard a stat that he's the only college football coach in FBS since 2015 that hasn't gotten a win as an underdog, which is shocking of all of FBS. But this is his chance. One dog. I mean, they really probably shouldn't be underdogs. So this is really their shot to finally just get that monkey off his back and get people to stop talking about it.
That's interesting. It's an interesting.
All right, the next statement win here. I think someone owes me an apology from last episode because someone got really aggressive here.
Hand up.
But Arkansas and Texas A&M, I'm pretty sure I said those Hogs I liked in that game, and someone told me I was an idiot. I don't know if that was an exact quote, but it was definitely, inferred. But Hogs, go Hogs.
I will say, I'm glad I didn't bet this game because
little hog call for you.
I am glad. I'm so glad. I would have lost my shirt if I would have been able to bet in Maine. Thank God that they don't have legalized online sports gambling because, I was in a blender on this one too. As we got closer, because it just started to feel like the type of game where Arkansas is going to show up. Where I know I was super confident on AM last week, but we did do Boilermakers, and that might have got me going a little bit there. EJ, I apologize. You're absolutely right. All faith in the world in the Hogs, but I mean, I'll anticipate you a little bit here. Like, if you think that they're going to play Georgia next week, and it's going to be close there. Here Hogs and Dogs, dude.
We got a little side bet here.
Here we go.
I absolutely would do a side bet on that
one. So here's the thing that I noticed. One, I didn't even realize before the game it was a neutral site. So even more power. I assumed it was in Arkansas, and it wasn't. So even more power that they didn't even really have home field advantage.
Jerry Jones is an Arkansas alum. Yeah, they absolutely had home field advantage.
Yes, and A&M, even though College Station is in the middle of nowhere, is probably still closer to Dallas, being in the state.
It's Jerry World. It's not Dallas World. Like,
right.
It was a home game for the Hogs.
To help with this this bet line a little bit. Georgia's 18.5-point favorites. I don't know if you guys want to.
Well, actually, hold on. We're going to get to this later in the section.
I meant for the side bet.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll get to it
Okay.
because I think we're going to highlight that in a little bit.
Sure.
So one thing I will say, so a couple of my notes on this game was one, Isaiah Spiller is fantastic. I know I've heard the name a couple of years. He has no relation to the old Clemson running back, CJ Spiller, disappointing. But just watching him, he looks the part of probably the first back. I don't know if he's eligible. I feel like he has to be. But he looked fantastic. He was the only thing that looked anything remotely good on A&M. That's why I think this was more of an attestment. Arkansas played well. I think this proved to me what I thought, that A&M just isn't any good. I'm sorry. They're just not. He's great. They're just fine. I'm sure they have a lot of talent, but nothing else what looked good to me for them. The only other thing I would say here is Burks, Treylon Burks, the wide receiver for Arkansas, has before this year had gotten some first round billing. He's 6'3", 225, so he's pretty big, but he's fast. I think this game kind of really just again showed that he's probably worth that first round pick. Probably should be one of the top first receivers, if not the first receiver off the board. I thought he looked great. I really want to just highlight the Hogs defense. Holy crap. Their quarterback Jefferson got injured and sat out almost or all of the third and almost all of the fourth. He didn't come back in until about 5 minutes left in the fourth. And that entire time, the backup wasn't really a thrower. So Arkansas's defense had to keep them in that game while Jefferson was out, and they did it. I thought that was a hell of a game by them.
It sounds like it's safe to say you're high on the Hog.
And then I was just gonna say here,
EJ's going hog wild.
Yes, yeah. I will say they have a tough game, like we had just kind of hinted to, at Georgia. That is going to be College game day, and we can talk about that in a second. But I might like the Hogs if I know Jefferson is healthy enough to play and is at least healthy enough to move around. But we'll kind of get to that in a second. The only other side note I have here is Arkansas has a starting linebacker, and his name is Bumper Pool, and I couldn't believe that. I thought that was hilarious. And
fantastic game.
I used to have a friend that had Bumper Pool, and that is also a very fun game.
Shout out Dave Farah. We used to stay up till 2 a.m. on Tuesday nights playing Bumper Pool and drinking wine.
So there you go. Marty Schultz is my shutout. He used to have it.
There we go.
And then a couple of upsets here. We kind of alluded to Kansas State losing to Oklahoma State. Iowa State, unfortunately, lost to Baylor. And I think the biggest one is Clemson. Clemson lost to North Carolina State.
I didn't watch a second of this game. I did go through and watch recaps. But I was stunned because I wanted to go back and see what happened. Let me read out Clemson's possessions. First possession was a 4 and out. It was 4 plays in that punt. Then touchdown. Then 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, interception. Then to start the second half, 3 and out, 3 and out, touchdown, 3 and out. That is a lot of 3 and outs for your boy DJ Ungalalele, Mr. Dr. Pepper himself. That is insane. What is happening?
My honest take, and I heard this, it's not an original take on me, but it's something I heard, and I have reason to believe this could be true. I kind of saw it a little bit on a much, 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 much smaller scale at Michigan State. But I wonder if I think Nick Saban's a unicorn in this, but I wonder if Clemson's to the point now where they're losing a little bit of the edge that got them to where they are. So instead of having to grind to be good and grind to get recruits, they're getting those recruits. And when those recruits come, they just expect to be good.
We're Clemson. Yeah.
And don't put in the work. And I think they might be in that dangerous level of potentially having to go down for a couple of years. Ohio State might be in the similar case.
We can only hope.
Well, we can only hope.
Saban's the only one that has, and I think he's very unique with his current dynasty at being able to take these spoiled kids, if you want to call them that, these talented kids, and actually getting them to work hard.
Well, just top recruits is what you're talking.
And
well, I would say Clemson has them, but those Clemson kids aren't necessarily working.
But that's what I mean. That's what you're highlighting, is that Saban finds a way or is strict enough to keep them dedicated and hardworking, whereas Dabo maybe isn't doing that.
But the biggest anomaly about Dabo is that, unlike not just Saban, but everyone else, he's able to keep Brett Venables around and prevent him from going off to head coaching job. Because if that's any other, like, he's gone.
Yeah, well, I will say apparently they were like almost to blows on the sideline. So
as they should be 7-3 and outs.
A bad season,
7-3 and outs.
Right, a bad season here might change that.
That's insane.
I keep seeing the video going around on social media of Dabo in the like private jet with DJ showing him like, that's where you're going to throw touchdowns. And then it's like
for the Georgia game.
Yeah. Well, they keep showing it for every game because he's not throwing any touchdowns.
I mean, it's just insane.
He's not even getting the first down.
I think it just showed how much they miss ETN too, and how Dabo's been very blessed. And I know
Trevor Lawrence.
Well, right. You had Deshaun Watson, then Trevor Lawrence.
Urban's about to give him back.
Right. I know DJU was the number one overall recruit, but I don't know. I think Dabo really needs to kind of maybe readjust the way he's been coaching.
And I think that DJ Uiagalelei did play pretty well when he spelled Trevor Lawrence last year for a little bit. Yeah. But like, man, like,
well, I mean, they don't have a T Higgins. I don't think there's as much talent as they've had on offense around him. And again, this is just a very young kid, sophomore, true sophomore. So,
but still, I mean, they finished with great recruiting classes. You're telling me that none of these kids are receivers or running backs or offensive linemen?
Yeah. I don't feel too bad for them.
They just might be young. I don't know much. I know, what's their receiver that had the back issues? I can't think of what his name is now, but he's a little bit of a vet and sat out all last year. But maybe they just have some young players that just aren't ready for the spotlight.
Good, Joe.
I'm shifting to a different game. So if you got something else on this, go ahead.
No, I was going to shift to a more meta review of the college football landscape. But if you're going to do a different game, go. I was just going to say, like, and this kind of goes to it. Like, if starting the season, you would have told me that by the end of week 4, I would have more confidence in the Pac-12 and their playoff contender than the Big Ten and the ACC. Like, what a shock that is. I mean, I think we all assumed that Clemson was going to be the one for the ACC, but like the Big Ten, like I think Penn State looks good, but to be frank, they haven't played a lot of tough Big Ten matchups, and the Big Ten's really, I mean, super strong this year, super, like, from top to bottom. I think they have a great conference. The ACC stinks, and Oregon with their statement win. I mean, it's incredibly tough to go to Columbus and go to the Horseshoe and get that win. But also, like, I mean, Oregon still has some tough road to hoe, and we don't know how good Ohio State is yet.
No.
But I think that we know how bad Clemson is because they went from number 9 to number 25. I think everyone agrees.
Yeah, they're about to be unranked.
What
I don't know who they have this week, but
I will say what I will say about Ohio State is, again, I think we really need to see them start playing because, a lot of people have killed CJ Stroud and he hasn't looked good at times, but against Oregon in a loss, he still threw for like 450 yards. And I don't know if there's an offense in the Big Ten that can throw for 450 yards other than them. So again, it's kind of one of those things where Iowa looks great. Penn State looks great. Both their offenses are dreadful. So we'll see. But I don't think Ohio State is an actual contender to win the national championship. They could be a playoff, attendee, but not a real contender.
I do think, though, that of all the years, and granted, we're only partway through the season, I do think of all the years for Cincinnati to make the playoff, this could be the year.
We'll get to that a little bit later.
I mean, I feel like we could.
They're going to have a chance
this year.
Well,
they absolutely will.
They have a chance to do it.
Before we get into that, I've got one more one more upset that I wanted to add to this list. I was surprised you didn't have it on here, but I don't think you watched it. How about those BGSU Falcons? 20, I think they were 23, 24-point underdogs at the start of the game, and even into the first quarter. I picked that up. I think first or second quarter, I made some decent money on that game. They ended up winning. I think it was, I don't know what the score was.
Minnesota, right?
Yeah, they beat Minnesota, and they controlled the whole game.
That was I had at the breweries. I had my phone up on the ESPN app, watching whatever games I could, and that was like the one game I could watch.
Yeah, it was 14-10 final. So not like a crazy high scoring shootout, but it was an interesting game. And Bowling Green, they clearly held their own, and Minnesota, PJ's got some work to do.
It was just another disappointment because the week before Minnesota goes to Colorado, wins 38-0, and looked like they were rebuilt, on the right path again. And then they come back and it's disappointing. Ibrahim is obviously a big loss for them in their offense, but
they also look solid against Ohio State week 1.
Yeah,
I mean, that was another big game for them. Yeah. That was the game where he got injured.
Hate to see that for my good boy, my handsome boy, PJ Fleck. Row the boat, Sky Umaco Gophers.
Yeah, and then the other upset, we kind of alluded to the ACC sucking, but it really just shows even more that they suck, is North Carolina lost to Georgia Tech, the mighty Yellow Jackets. And honestly, I think the best team so far in the ACC is Wake Forest, which is crazy.
Wake the nation, baby. Demon Deeks.
Yeah.
Let's
Wake
go.
Nation that couldn't find a spot for Kenneth Walker on their
team. They had to cut someone, and he was the guy.
Yeah, for sure. But the ACC is terrible. I don't know what's going to happen this playoff. But yeah, why don't we talk about that in a second? Do you guys want to take a quick break?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do a quick break. I might refresh this bad boy.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break here, and we'll be right back in a second. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome.
Sorry, I don't have any good interlude music back into it, but welcome back from the break, everyone. Joe and Mike, I hope you guys have refreshed your drinks.
Hell yeah, baby.
Yes, sir.
Used the restroom, maybe gotten a little snacky snack.
Quick ranking. Quick ranking here.
Yeah, why don't we,
boys?
Yeah, 1 to 5. Give a rank. I'm gonna give it a 4. I really like how it takes the bite out of the bourbon, but still has a good amount of bourbon in it.
3.7. But I like the bite of whiskey, so that's why it's a little low for me. But it's super refreshing. So 3.7 for me.
I'm also going to go with a 4. I think it's good. I like the citrus, but I'm also, the whole time I've been comparing it to my favorite, the Caipirinha. So I'm going to go 4. Solid drink. Definitely will make again.
So I would say that the Caipirinha, Huapirinha, whatever it is, I'm going to say that is a 4.4.
Save it for the week we make them.
It's my favorite mixed drink of all time. And that just shows we're
on the same page here.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
DJ.
Why don't we get to betting? So that was a bad weekend for me too. So the only game that I guessed right was, of course, the one I didn't actually place a bet on, and that was West Virginia and Oklahoma.
Oh, wait. I was going to say, you didn't bet Arkansas.
I did not.
Are you serious? You rub it in my face and you don't bet it?
No,
put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly.
I traveled to Michigan, so I was
Michigan
busy.
has sports betting.
I know, but I was driving for
he has no excuse.
20 hours. So yes, a couple of bets slipped through the cracks for me. It will not happen this weekend, which I think the three of us
did you leave
are going
right after we recorded last week? Like minutes after? Because that would be the only reason you wouldn't be able to bet. You drove through as soon as we stopped recording.
Yes.
And he still had to drive through Virginia. I am absolutely befuddled and floored by your actions.
It will not happen again this weekend, and I think the three of us are going to be together at least for a portion of that day.
Yeah.
We need to talk about that. We should be together for a lot of the weekend. But anyways, go ahead.
Slumber party.
Slumber party.
So I'll highlight a couple of
my sucked, Joe.
Yeah, I've got a couple. I had 2 big losses where the teams just didn't come through. one being OSU. Thought it was a safe bet playing their third string quarterback. Third, second string.
52 Akron. 52.
EJ's reaction. If you're not watching on YouTube, EJ's reaction was just
because I also lost that bet.
Yeah, 52. I lost some money on that one. I will never bet that goddamn team again. I hate them, and they're just whatever. So my other loss was EJ Spartans. I thought was a lock at minus 4.5.
That. Yeah.
Over Nebraska at home, right? That was in East Lansing. I thought that was a lock. I thought 4.5 points. Sparty's been solid. Nebraska's not really there yet, but it was a game. They end up winning by, was it 3?
Yeah.
So that was my other loss.
You almost got it.
Walker would have gotten his ass in that end zone. I would have been good.
He got tackled at the 1 in overtime.
That's why Wake Forest dumped his ass. So I would too now. And then like I mentioned earlier, my big win, I put $50 on Bowling Green about second quarter. I think it was, made some decent money over Minnesota. It was like, I got a minus 23 and they ended up winning outright. So
yeah,
that one was fun.
All right, Mike, quickly, how did your theoretical betting go?
Terrible. Thank God we got that out of our system theoretically. Great. So we're ready to go.
All right, great. Everyone, remember, please send us your bets. We might all be together.
Doyle, we'll take your bets again.
Yeah, we'll take your bets again.
You're off probation.
We're probably going to be all together when we post on Saturday morning. So potentially, maybe not, but we definitely will be when the games start. So yeah, please, sharing is caring. Send us your bets. So this next section, this is going to be a new little segment for us. Something I thought we could try, but why don't we? Which I'll reiterate later, the game that we're talking about on this episode is not being played this week. There are no Big Ten trophy rivalry games this week. So
but it is a great slate.
It is a great slate. This week. So what are the other games that we are looking forward to this weekend? But let's do this a lightning round. So why don't you just give me who's playing, where they're playing, and just like a quick 1 to 2 sentence reason why you're excited. So Joe, this one kind of looks like it'd be up your alley.
Yeah, so I've got one lined up. The OSU Rutgers game at Rutgers, just because my big thing, it's personal for me. Michigan just beat Rutgers. They squeaked by. It's kind of a comp game. Let's see how Ohio State does. They were kind of trending downward. They just had a big win over Akron. So let's see how they're going to do against Rutgers at home, a Rutgers team that looks pretty solid for the most part. They were 3-0 going into that Michigan game. Now they're 3-1. So my game is OSU at Rutgers, and I will not be betting it.
Awesome. Mike, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I'm tempted to pick Hogs versus Dogs here, I got to go Ole Miss Bama because Matt Corral, who's going to be playing quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers next year, I am excited to see what he can do. And the fact that, anytime Lane Kiffin plays Saban, like in the immediate future, it's going to be appointment or really anytime in the future, it's going to be appointment television. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited to see that one. I'm excited to see Corral versus Bryce Young. And, Ole Miss is, I think Ole Miss is legit. Like Kiffin has an awesome offense. So we're going to see. It was a hell of a game last year. That game was back and forth, absolute shootout. It was the first time that I was really super upset. Not the first time, but the first time I was really cursing, like screaming Pete Golding burning hell, like at the top of my lungs last season. So excited for that again this year. Going to be an emotional blunder. It'll be awesome.
All right. Mine, number 14, Michigan at Wisconsin. First real test for Michigan. Wisconsin's last real effort to salvage their season. Number 8, Arkansas at number 2, Georgia. College game day, and honestly, all the pressure's on Georgia here. Can't lose it. I would be terrified if I was them. Big test for Georgia. Number 7, Cincy at number 8, Notre Dame.
That'll be huge.
Cincy's chance at the playoff, like we talked about. They win this, they're in the driver's seat to get to the playoffs. If they lose, they're out. And number 12, Ole Miss at number 1, Alabama. Is Matt Corral real? Good showing catapults him into the number 1 overall discussion.
And I know you liked him. We've talked a little bit before. You liked him for a potential Lions draft, right?
Yes. The other quarterbacks have not looked great. Rattler, Howell, the Liberty guy. I'm not real keen on.
Yeah, so, that tells you right there.
Corral might be the guy that would make us take him over Thibodeau, but right now it's probably Thibodeau.
Reason to watch right there.
It's hard
for me.
The Steelers are going to finish with a worse record than the Lions. So
you
have
one win, so
yeah, you're already ahead.
Well, hey, I have faith in you guys.
All right. Oh, and actually, we play each other, so we can that'll be determined November.
If there's refs, their Lions are bound to lose.
All right, quickly, bonus round up here. This is I'm going to call this upset alert for the bonus round. Number 3, Oregon at Stanford. Rivalry game. Can Oregon survive?
Yes.
Big test.
Should be able to, yeah.
Yeah, big. I'm definitely going to watch it. That's a real nice 3:30 game. That's going to be.
Oh, that's 3:30. I'd assume that would be late.
Yeah,
okay.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, Pac-12 got that one right. They've been
big.
In the next one though, Arizona State at number 20, UCLA. UCLA has been on super late, which Kirk Herbstreit talked about this on game day.
Chip has been
should
pissed.
not be like they have a. I want to see some more UCLA. So
we'll see here.
See that one.
This is Pac-12 South on the line. I think Arizona State played horribly against BYU, but they're very good.
I believe we also lost some money on that one too.
We did.
Yeah.
So we'll see. At number 5, Iowa at undefeated Maryland. Blackout. It's called Blackout Iowa. Is what their slogan is for that game. It's a night game, Friday night, which is interesting. That'll be a nice little treat on Friday.
Yeah, we should go to Two Silos and watch that game. But
Iowa should be nervous. And the last one, number 6 Oklahoma at Kansas State. Kansas State was ranked, just came off a disappointing defeat. And Oklahoma has not looked good.
Yeah, Oklahoma went down to the wire. I don't know if you guys caught any of that one. That was a close one, and they could have easily lost that.
I might, and I don't think Oklahoma's defense is all that. Oklahoma State's defense played lights out this weekend. So, and real quick, Iowa, Maryland, Iowa's favored 3.5.
That tells you something right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look closely.
And Mike, do we just want to quickly settle this now? Georgia is giving 18.5. I will take that easy.
I'm a witness.
Wait, I'm sorry. Where are you?
Georgia is giving 18.
So you're taking Arkansas minus 18.5
plus 18.5.
I mean, I think Georgia's gonna win the game. I haven't decided which way I'm gonna bet.
This is a side bet. Personal.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna cover. Like, hold on a sec. I'm not giving you 18.5 points right now.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that a little.
Maybe we'll post about it.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't we get to the episode here? Why don't we get to the trophy, the rest of the episode? Why don't we get to the trophy here? So today we're going to talk about a relatively unknown and a mouthful of a name trophy that's called the $5 Bits of Broken Chair Trophy. So this trophy is given to the winner between the Minnesota Golden Gophers and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So Ono and I give you some fun facts here. So this is the first trophy we've talked about that involves Nebraska. So as many of you know, Nebraska was a member of the Big 12 prior to joining the Big 10 in 2010. And do you guys know when the Big 10 was established or the Big 12 was established? This kind of a shock to me.
I actually don't know. I know it was fairly
12
recently. Yeah, I think it was 12. Like in the 90s, right?
Oh.
Yes, it was 1994.
94. Ooh, got it.
The football slate started in 96, which is interesting.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah, so they developed the conference, but it took them a couple of years to actually get like the schedule together because as we know, the football schedules are released pretty far in advance. And I kind of alluded to this earlier, but the second fun fact here is there are no Big 10 trophy games this week. So this game is not going to be played this weekend. It will be played on October 16th. And we will highlight it that week when we talk about the Old Brass Spittoon. So, guys, what are your first impressions of this trophy?
That's what, if people see why people are watching on YouTube, why I'm real close.
Mike, go to your mic.
Oh, sorry. If people were watching on YouTube, I was real close to the screen. Looking at this trophy, it is, it's interesting. Because it's a chair.
Yes, it is.
Turned over. It's a messed up chair turned over on side.
One could say it was a broken chair.
One could say it was a broken chair, but is that like
it's golden? Is it like gold plated?
It's a gold plated chair. It's definitely broken. Is that like what's the little shard that looks like looks like a key with a funky keychain hanging off the top of it?
It almost looks like a spur, like on the back of a cowboy boot or something.
It's the chunk out of the chair.
Oh, there's a hole in it. It's a hole.
Yeah, it's a hole in the chair.
Hole in the chair.
Oh,
That is the
okay.
broken
Yeah,
piece
with the
of the
reflection.
chip. Kinda trippy.
Yeah, okay, that's the broken piece.
Yeah.
But a chair never breaks like that.
So they like a plastic chair, maybe.
I don't know. I've watched a lot of wrestling. I've seen a lot of chair matches. I've never seen a chair break like that. It looks like
I think they use metal, but I'm not a big wrestling guy. Wrestling goes with Marvel hand in hand.
It looks like a gopher took a bite out of the chair.
Maybe.
Or a Cornhusker threw some corn at it.
That's a hell of a throw. It's cool, man. I like the name.
It's different for
too.
sure.
That the plate that has the Minnesota Nebraska logos on it, it looks like it's made out of wood, which is normally you see like that plate is like bronze. But this one looks like it's made out of wood. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I like that. I could easily see players like hoisting this above their head and like, holding it up. Kind of cool.
Smashing the chair over the opponent's head.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm zooming in. I see the broken piece now.
Yeah.
That is completely different than I thought it was. So
Yeah,
is that chunk
angle
on the ground the piece of the chair that was broken out?
I think it's supposed to look like that. Obviously, that chunk doesn't actually like
fit.
It wouldn't fit like a puzzle piece. But
and then there's like a plaque on the side that says something broken chair trophy.
Yeah, it's just the name of the trophy.
Yeah,
bits of broken chair
yeah.
trophy. So that is a wood plaque.
I think it's pretty.
Right?
It's interesting for sure. It's all gold and except for the wood platform.
Yeah, definitely. So why don't I give you guys some history of the rivalry itself?
Yeah.
So the first matchup was in 1900, and that was when Minnesota won that game 20-12. The series itself, Minnesota holds the lead 34 wins to 25 losses to 2 ties. So it's relatively close. The rivalry can really be separated into 2 distinct eras. So the first being Minnesota's glory days. So that was the beginning, early 1900s. Minnesota won 29 of the first 37 meetings. And 2 of those meetings were ties. So it was really dominated by Minnesota to begin with. And then pretty much directly after that was Nebraska's rise to prominence. And that included current coach Scott Frost's national championship, being the quarterback to their national championship team in the 90s. And Nebraska has won 19 of the next 24 meetings.
Okay, so a little streaky.
Yeah, so very interesting there. And the 2 have played regularly from 1900 to 1974. But then they really played sparingly until Nebraska joined the Big Ten in 2011. And now, because since they joined the Big Ten in 2011, they've been on the same side, the same division. So they've played each other every year. So before it was East and West, it was the Legends and Leaders, and they were both a part of the Legends, and now they're both a part of the West, obviously because of geography. So they've played every year since 2011, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And then, Legends, so the history. So this wonderful story starts in 2014, but before we continue, follow me as I take you on a journey down memory lane by reminding you what life was like in 2014 for us.
What was life like in 2014?
Just obviously we were around. All these other games we weren't. So just this will be a nice little.
But fill in our young listeners. Those 4 or 5 year olds.
Yeah. So before I move any forward, I this kind of stood out to me. There were a lot of negatives from this year. I really thought 2020 and 2021 were pretty terrible for our country.
I mean, there's no way that it's worse than 2014 is worse than 2020.
I will say I didn't actually highlight any of the negatives, but Joe, I think you'd be surprised. It was
really
it was pretty bad, and I don't remember being that bad.
All right, let's hear it.
I'm focusing on the positives. Good juju here,
Let's hear it.
Well, why don't we go with this? So the number 1 Florida State Seminoles beat the number 2 Auburn Tigers at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena for the national championship by a score of 34-31. So let me just say dubs were eaten.
Dubs.
That wasn't like Cam Newton era, was it?
No, it was Jameis.
That was famous. That was famous Jameis, which also means that he's been in the league for that long.
That was the season of the kick 6, right? Yep. That was the season.
Oh, yeah.
So that was also the same night Paul Walker died. Yeah. A lot of
It was that long. Wow. That seems like it was just handful of years ago, not 2014.
Yeah, 2014 is not close anymore.
Hold on,
Okay,
hold on.
yeah, I feel like that was 2 years ago.
So not only did I get in a fight at a bar the night of the kick six, I was actually back in Pennsylvania and kind of fighting. Yeah, right. But we went to a bar after that, a different bar. And there's a DJ and he was taking requests. And my buddy Josh, shout out Josh Kohler, asked the DJ if he could play Good Riddance by Green Day for his friend Paul.
Paul Walker. Oh, great.
It was so messed up.
All right, so getting away from that, so the Seattle Seahawks win their first Super Bowl by defeating the Denver Broncos by a score 43-8. If you guys remember, that game was over as soon as it started.
Yeah.
I think it like opened with
that was a rough one.
Yeah. Also, 2014 was a particularly bad year for me because I went through the real bad breakup. You guys know what I'm talking about.
No, let's
I recall.
Let's keep going.
Shout out Kara.
And
shout out Kara.
So Matthew McConaughey, our guy, wins the Academy Award for Best Actor for his performance in Dallas Buyers Club.
All right.
Yes. Frozen, giving you another kind of movies. What the movies were popular. Frozen wins the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature.
Still haven't seen it.
Shout out Taco. That's like his favorite movie.
I'm envisioning a lot of Frozen in the next couple years for us, though.
It's not.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is, Mike. And yes, Joe, I agree. Mike, Guardians of the Galaxy is released. Your favorite Marvel movie.
Hell yeah.
Rock on.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but top 5 for sure.
There, right?
It's top 5. Yeah.
It's probably not mine.
And let me just run you through the top songs of 2014. So this is the top 40 hits. This was the most played song. So this is going to be skewed towards the top 40 pop songs. But we have Timber.
I was gonna say, can I guess
also
Timber?
Chris's favorite.
Shout out Marin.
Chris
Marin
loves it too.
Also loves it. Stay With Me, Sam Smith. Problem, Ariana Grande featuring Iggy Azalea. All About That Bass, Meghan Trainor. Rude by Magic. Chris also liked that song.
Oh,
he loved that song. Okay.
Talk Dirty.
Special meaning for him.
Yeah, Jason Derulo. Counting Stars, One Republic. Fancy, Iggy Azalea.
What happened to Iggy Azalea?
I know.
Azalea. She fell off.
She fell off. All of Me, John Legend. Dark Horse, Katy Perry featuring Juicy J. And then Happy, which is just one of the most catchy, annoying songs ever. But yes, Happy, Pharrell. Yeah,
I'll keep track of that. Maybe I'll use one of those in our post this week on the story.
What if your room doesn't have a roof and it's in the middle of a hurricane? Then I wouldn't say you're very happy. I wouldn't say you're clapping your hands like a room without a roof. Like that seems terrible, Pharrell. What about that? Problematic.
Yeah, I guess so.
If he's a listener,
you should write him.
Maybe he'll write in.
Yeah. And then the last thing that I thought was kind of cool, kind of ties back to what we were talking about with the Cy-Hawk, but the Downtown Athletic Club. So the real athletic club names Oregon Ducks quarterback Marcus Mariota the Heisman Trophy winner.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been that long. That seems like it was yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yes.
He had time to be a starter and then ruin that and become a backup for multiple teams.
And now he was used in the Vegas game against Baltimore. Week 1, got one play, a read option, ran it 30 yards, pulled his hamstring, and is on IR. So it's just Mariota.
Wow.
Yep.
You hate to see it.
So back to the trophy here. You guys are going to like this one. The Broken Chair Trophy originated from some good old banter on Twitter between Minnesota's mascot Goldie Gopher and the popular internet personality Faux Pelini, which was the alter ego of former Nebraska coach Bo Pelini.
So that's another thing about 2014 that I think is worth noting out. So like if you're on Twitter now, like Twitter back near its inception was very, especially around that area of 2014, like brands were still trying to figure themselves out and how to act on Twitter. Because you have brands like Wendy's now that like catch on to all the memes and shit like that, stuff like that, dump that. But back then, brands were just like, you had the Chef Boyardee brand posting stuff like, we'll never forget 9/11. It's like, well, Chef Boyardee, all due respect, but like maybe stay in your lane. Like you can't be posting that with like your next hot ravioli can right afterwards. And
you know who one of the best Twitter or social media accounts is? Slim Jim. Slim Jim just goes at people and they will comment on stuff. I'll just randomly see a Slim Jim. It's like, I don't know, some random comment by a celebrity and like, no, you don't.
But like whenever everyone says now, like, oh, I feel bad for these social media teams, it's just some poor intern running it. It's not an intern anymore. If you're running a social media account,
it's a career,
have a marketing degree. This is your career. You're being paid very well.
Yeah.
But back in 2014,
they were just like, here, kid, do this.
Yeah. What can you hop on the Twitter and do some things? Like,
give us some tweets.
Get on our Twitter and our book face and do some stuff. Like that's what it was like back then. So that's when you had
now it's so important now.
Yeah. But that's when you ran to like all these kids. They're just like, saying stupid stuff and getting into fights with Faux Pelini and parody accounts like Phil Werrell and like all the different parody. Like that was such a good time for Twitter.
And guys, these accounts still are active, so we're gonna definitely need to
shout them out. Same. Faux Pelini is not like the same as it used to be. It used to be like, parody accounts when they first came around as inception, it was like fresh and hot and new. And now, it's really, like I said, now you have like these people who dedicate their whole lives and their 4-year degrees to Twitter, and they're doing a great job. Like
but I don't know. I don't think Faux Pelini has any like affiliation with the university, so I think it's still probably the original person. But
sure,
it's still active. I think it's still good. I think we're gonna need to interact with them once we start to.
All due respect to Faux Pelini, but now he says things happen. He probably has 3 kids. He's an adult. He can't be sitting around just going after corporate accounts. They'll slap back nowadays.
True.
Yeah. All right. So guys, I told you that this originated between those 2 accounts, Goldie Gopher, Faux Pelini. Who do you think initiated the conversation? 50-50 chance.
Definitely Goldie Gopher.
Yeah,
because they were winning. They had that first streak. I'm guessing they were cocky.
I'm thinking.
50-50.
Nowadays,
don't like that air here.
I'm gonna say Faux Pelini.
All right, Joe was right. It was Goldie Gopher. So let me read you guys these let's see here, 3 beautiful tweets that initiated this trophy. All right, so Goldie Gopher is saying this. Hey, at Faux Pelini, how about a friendly wager for this weekend's game? Team that gets the most points gets a conference win. Seem fair? Faux Pelini responds back. At Goldie the Gopher. Okay, how about if we win, you give me $5. If you win, I get to smash a wooden chair over your back. And then Goldie Gopher responds back.
What does Faux Pelini even look like? Are they known to be who they are?
It looked like Faux Pelini at the time.
Like, is it like a mascot?
I think it's just like a meme photo of Bo Pelini.
Yeah, it was just a picture of Bo Pelini.
Gotcha. So the last tweet was at Faux Pelini. Just as long as we turn that $5 or bits of broken chair into a trophy for next year's game. So that was
I see where this is going.
That was the exchange. So enter the internet. So Goldie the Gopher tweets, could someone kindly design the $5 bits of broken chair trophy and maybe throw in a folklore character, owner, Faux Pelini and I? And then I think if you guys scroll down, you can see the Twitter account Corked Bats came to the rescue. So they tweeted at Goldie the Gopher, at Faux Pelini, at Reddit's College Football CFB.
Mm-hmm.
How does this work? It's the best I could design with a $5 budget.
Shout out to Internet Artist. Oh, he even has a sticker for $5.
Yeah, so why don't you guys describe it for the listeners? What does this original
wooden
concept
plaque
look like?
Or wooden base, got a plaque on there, bits of wooden chair trophy, Minnesota versus Nebraska. It's got the chair on there. It's golden plated. It's very similar to the current one. It doesn't look like there's a hole in it, but it's got a chair sideways.
Yeah, it does look very much like the current trophy. Except I wish they would have kept the like pricing sticker that you see like from a pricing
like a discount. Discount price
$5.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Like you would see on like a can of noodles or like SpaghettiOs or something.
Chef Boyardee.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, guys, remember at this time, this is just 2 internet accounts
all virtual
about the game, all virtual, and this is just another account that comes in from Reddit that just puts a picture, a concept of it, and that's where it is at this point. So whoever runs the Minnesota's mascot's Twitter account ran with the joke and actually made it into a trophy. So if you scroll down a little bit further, you can see
the bottom of it. Okay.
The bottom of it has a $5 bill.
2 $5 bills underneath.
Yes.
Oh.
So Goldie Gopher gave this picture, and it looks very like the current trophy, but it does have 2 $5 bills on the back, and the $5 bills are fake $5 bills, and where
tell me it has Goldie in the middle.
Right, where yes, it does. Where the
can't tell from the picture; it's too small.
No, scroll down. I zoomed in for you.
Oh, okay.
So if you look, it has where the presidents are. It has a picture of the faux Pelini picture.
Oh yeah.
The Goldie,
one of each.
Awesome.
Yeah. They even cut out some of the $5 bill on the Goldie Gopher one that matches the hole in the top of the chair or the bottom of the chair.
The only thing that I hate about this trophy is the hole. That seems just crazy to me, but everything else about it I freaking love.
I think
it's got to be broken somehow.
It looks like a cartoon break, right?
Yeah,
like an exaggerated, jagged cartoon break.
It's also missing a leg. It looks like a leg's cut off, and the connecting piece, the base of between the legs.
And the base is just 3 pieces of wood like stacked on top of each other. That's so good.
This was like a wood shop guy at the university that put this
I could build this, yeah.
I think
the piece that's on the top of the base where it says Minnesota v Nebraska with their like block M, block N, I think that piece on the top is part of the leg. And it's not necessarily supposed to fit in the jagged hole. It's part of the leg.
Yeah, good call. And I don't know if you guys kind of noticed, but we'll get to this. This is not the version that you guys saw earlier. So
it looks similar.
Looks similar, but it's not quite. So
I would have believed it.
Yeah. So even though the trophy was created by fans, completely unaffiliated fans, the 2 schools picked up the idea and ran for it for a while. So if you keep scrolling down, the Gopher mascot made the trophy before the team's 2014 game. Minnesota won it that year, and Goldie brought it to it looks like a basketball game to kind of show it off. So it's definitely something they took pride into.
Sure.
And then the following year, Nebraska won it, and then the coach then, Mike Riley, proudly hoisted it as well, and posted it on their official account, which is also pretty cool. But there is a problem in 2016. So after Nebraska's and Minnesota's 2016 game,
tell me it goes missing.
The trophy disappeared.
It's a tale as old as time.
2016, so 2 years.
Yeah. So it lasted for those 2 years. The one where Minnesota won it and Goldie brought it to a basketball game. And then when Nebraska won it the next year and the coach proudly hoisted it.
Big Ten kids are the biggest thieves. Like, I feel like Rusty, Danny Ocean, Linus, they must have gone to
take notes, schools. Boys.
Linus is from Chicago. He probably went to Northwestern.
Probably.
He probably knows where Sweet Sue's buried.
Yeah,
he knows where all the bodies are.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a mystery podcast on where Sweet Sue is right now.
Where are these original trophies? Where are the original trophies?
We could. Tiger King's getting the 2nd season.
Maybe we can get a first.
Why not us?
Why not us?
So in this 2016 game, the Lincoln Journal-Star reported some Nebraska players didn't even know they were playing for the trophy and that they couldn't track it down after the game.
Oh, so it's a civil conflict thing.
Right. So so Nebraska had it in 2015. Apparently it just never made it to the 2016 game. And no one seemed to know where it was. It seemed to be replaced. They did have some interviews with some of the players, and they basically Nebraska players, and they were basically like, I think I remember hoisting last year, but really just downplaying it. Didn't really care.
Yeah. Right.
But don't worry.
Yeah.
The internet saves the day in 2017. So the year without the trophy was really disappointing for the fans. So before the 2017 season, some fans on Reddit started talking about how to bring it back. So in quotes here, it was a trophy that started online and we thought it was fitting to bring it back there. And that's where we kind of started our grassroots movement. And that is Jordan Rapp, which was one of the Redditors who brought the trophy back. So at one day at church, another Redditor who's kind of credited for being, kind of a father with Jordan Rapp on this new trophy. His name's Luke Peterson, or another Redditor approached Luke Peterson. So Luke Peterson at the time, or is probably still, a Nebraska fan with carpentry skills. And someone asked him, the broken chair trophy, right? And Peterson said, yeah, the one that's been missing for a year now. And that's what he recalled. So the
Wait, but this conversation is happening while it's like body of Christ.
Yes, yeah, at church.
Peace be with you. Let's pray to the Lord.
So this Redditor approaches Peterson and says, there's a good amount of people on the internet, specifically on Reddit,
for communion.
Yeah, that I've been talking to, and we want to bring it back. Ask Peterson, can you build it? And Peterson,
can you build a chair? Come on.
If you build it, they will come.
If he has
right
carpentry skills, he can build it.
And Jesus was a carpenter.
I have no skills. I could build a chair.
Yeah, I mean, it was like divine intervention, right? So Peterson said that he remembers saying, yeah, I can build it. So Peterson, who was a barista at the time, got to work with
you need a chair, you need a drink.
Help.
I can just see Peterson's wife like wailing on him, like this is happening during the homily. She's like, honey, pay attention. Father Larry's up there. We don't have much time left with him. He's 87 years old.
One of the co-hosts here has been kicked out of church before.
Two of the co-hosts have been.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
By our grandmother.
Story for a different day.
This is a story.
Story of flatulence in church.
Yeah. Have you ever? I'm sure the listeners here, Mike included. Have you ever just been with someone and you've had a moment where, even if it's something stupid, it's so funny that you can't stop laughing?
Yes.
Joe and I had that moment where it was something just stupid and we looked at each other and it was just one of those moments where we couldn't stop
when
laughing.
you make eye contact, you cannot get out of this position.
Yeah.
Where the laughter is coming and it's going to be bad.
Yeah. This was like mid mass. And
I think I want to say we were like a couple rows from the front. It was not good.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
We were in big trouble. Let's just say that.
Grandma gave you the boot for the toot.
Yeah. So getting back to this, Peterson got to work with the help of his church friends. So they wanted to recreate the trophy's original dimensions. So they printed pictures of the chair and then they added dollar bills and glued it to the bottom so that they could really get like the dimensions correct.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah, I would guess that would help with the measurements.
So they added a bigger case and then they lasered both schools' logos into the wood piece, like you guys had mentioned. Yeah. And then the creators' usernames are all etched on it as well. They're Reddit usernames. So that was pretty cool as well. And this took
laughing so much.
That's how we felt.
I feel I could just picture Peterson like, hey man, better take it serious here. Remember those kids that got kicked out by the grandma?
So this was
is that how the chair started? Like grandma kicked Peterson and the other guy out of the church and broke a chair over their back. It's like, why don't we use this one for the trophy?
Could have been.
Just use it as a mold.
Yeah, the build itself took about 40 hours in total to make, and it was made in a wood shop on the Nebraska Innovation Campus in Lincoln.
So during COVID, I built some outdoor furniture. I built a couple chairs, a sectional couch. You guys are aware. Each of those pieces took me about maybe a day, depending on the size of each one. What do you say? You said 40 hours?
Yeah.
That's a good amount of time to build one chair. So that just shows, and I'm applauding them. He put a lot of time into this chair to make sure that it was done well and it was accurate and that it was professionally or it was done well. So just to give him some credit.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks great. And this story continues with a really cool part that I'm really excited to talk about. But why don't we take one more quick break before we finish up this episode, and we'll get to this really cool section. Sound good, guys?
Yeah,
Sounds good.
Let me get the giggles. Let me get the giggles out here.
All right, we will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. You guys replenish drinks again, or you guys?
Not me. I ran out.
Oh, you ran out?
Yep. Back to water.
Mike, you popped the shirt off, it looks like, showing the guns for the rest of the or have you always had a tank top on?
Oh, yeah,
I've always had a tank top on the whole time.
I could have sworn you had sleeves on. I guess I'm just now
busted
looking
out
at
of
you.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I was laughing so much I just popped right out of them.
Yeah, you good? You good with the laughing fit?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, nope. There we go.
We
Again.
passed it on to him from 20 years ago.
I was just picturing. It was funny for me in general, just thinking about two people having this conversation in church, and then when you have it in your story, oh boy, this is a good drink.
I mean, let's be honest though. I mean, sometimes you need a little side conversation in church. Just saying. Sorry.
Tell that to the Lord.
I do sometimes. He's sometimes my side conversation. Just talking to the Lord about my bets that day. All right. So getting back to the story, I said that after the carpenter, Mr. Peterson, created the current day trophy, the original creators wanted to do something cool. So the creators wanted the chair to be more than just a new trophy. One of the creators said, quotes, "We wanted to go with something that would benefit others instead of just slapping company names on it. So we felt that if we could get donations for these great causes, that would bring a little attention to it and add a little validity to it as well." So now there's an annual charity fundraiser associated with the trophy that raises money for two nonprofits that are associated with each university. So the first nonprofit is Team Jack, which raises money to fund pediatric brain cancer research and work to create awareness for the disease, and is named after Jack Hoffman, a cancer survivor and a Nebraska fan. And I think if you guys all remember, they had a really cool video of him on ESPN.
Yep.
Of him having that touchdown run during, I believe it was their spring practice,
Yep.
Which was pretty cool. And the other proceeds go to the University of Minnesota's Masonic Children's Hospital, which is pretty cool as well. So the winning team's charity gets to host the trophy on a yearly basis, which kind of, brings it full circle for them. And in 2017, the first year that they did this, the charity raised $7,300, and the money split evenly between the two organizations, regardless of if one gets more than the other. So I just want to say, I think this is really awesome. We are going to be supporting both causes this year, and we will make sure to provide the information in our upcoming posts and on our Instagram page so that you guys can also support them if you want to. We strongly encourage it. And this is kind of something that's near and dear to us. I don't know, Joe, if you kind of want to talk through your experience.
Sure. Yeah. So Team Jack Foundation has a pretty big meaning to me as someone who had a brain tumor. I've had three surgeries for it from middle school going into high school. I had a cancerous brain tumor. I'm now cancer free, have been for years since then. So very, very lucky, very, I guess, blessed to be, in a position where I didn't have to necessarily go through chemo or go through different things that a lot of kids or even people have to do. So just very, lucky that I went through what I did, but haven't been through it in a while. And just looking back, though, this is a big organization that means a lot to me. And as I watch college football every year, it's something that pops up, especially with Nebraska games. It's something that pops up every year, and it's super important. So I think one of the big things with Team Jack is that you get players that get involved, and even into the pros. I know there's NFL players who still follow Team Jack and still promote it and still donate to it. And it just becomes, something that they can donate to in the bigger cause that Team Jack, I kind of compare it to the sports world of St. Jude's, where they fight childhood cancer, and not necessarily fight, but look up, they try and research and try and find a cure or try and help in any way they can. And I think part of it is, even if you look on their website, it shows that over the last 30 years that brain cancer in children has become the deadliest childhood cancer, overtaking leukemia as the number one cancer that, kids get and that ultimately kills them. So I think this is something that's super important that we should look into and to support. So I think I like that we're supporting it. And this game, this rivalry, this game, this trophy just means that much more coming from the fans, and that they were able to take on a charity of like this meaning, and that it just helps with the kids. So I think that's super important. So something that I'm very interested in and looking forward to donate to, and glad that we could talk about it.
Yeah. And whenever we share out on social media and everything, let us know if you donate to, like, please respond, and we'll, repost people who donate and everything. And if you respond to, we'll match, so some portion of the donation too. Hopefully, we can get a lot so that we can match a lot. If it's like 100,000 people that respond, that would be a little bit much. We might have to take a look at how we're gonna the amount of match that we'd give based on that. But we'll definitely do something for everyone that responds. So we will. This is an awesome cause, and this, I think a cool thing about sports and football too is that, like, there's things that go beyond it sometimes. I think this is one of them. So let's all rally around a good cause here.
Yeah, please. So when we do post this, even if you have followed us, liked our pages, please make a point to share our post, talk about this episode. Even if you don't want to, share us as a podcast overall with your friends and family, please at least share this one episode, just even if it's for the purpose,
charity aspect.
Right. Yeah. The purpose of just shining a light on this great game and the charities behind this game. So please make sure that when we do have these posts, because like I did mention, this game is not happening this weekend, so we'll definitely post about it this weekend, and then we're going to definitely post about it again leading up to the game. So just please make sure you blast this out, just for the charity's sakes, just for the awareness for the overall game.
Yeah. And I will say one other thing that I didn't mention. I think everybody listening, or everybody that I know, has somebody that they know that's been affected by this, or someone that's gone through childhood cancer, or somebody whose cousin or brother or sister has been through something like this. And myself, even not including myself going through it, I have numerous family members, friends with family members who have gone through something like this. So I think it affects everybody, and it's just a good cause that it really is something that you can add to and help with, no matter who you are.
Yeah, definitely.
Cancer sucks.
Yes, It does. Okay, guys, why don't we get to our rankings for this trophy? So just a reminder for the listeners, we rank on looks on a scale from 1 to 5, the history of the trophy on a scale from 1 to 5, the rivalry overall on a scale from 1 to 5, and then overall just kind of whether we put this trophy in a bottom tier, a middle tier, or a top tier. So Mike, why don't we start with you? What do you think?
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna say on the looks, I love it. It's super unique. I'm gonna say a 5 for the looks. Really enjoyed the hell out of this one. History is also a 5 for me. Like, anytime you get Twitter, I'm very big online, so anytime you get Twitter involved, that's a 5. Just go back to the golden age of Twitter and faux polity. I freaking love it. And the whole church thing, I just can't get over that too. And then the rivalry overall, I'm gonna say, given it is so consistent, I think that's really good. It's a pretty even rivalry, right, EJ?
Yeah, I think Minnesota's up by about 9 wins, so it's pretty even.
Yeah, close overall.
Yeah. I mean, Nebraska and Nebraska's not as good, but I do love me some PJ Flex. So I'm gonna go with a 4 for the rivalry because it is so even, and man, I just love it. I love this. And like, I mean,
so overall, where do you got it?
Yeah, hi. I love it, man. I love everything about this. Like, it was just cool. Like, it speaks to me on a number of different levels. I love the social media aspect of it. I love the Twitter played such a big role. And like, I mean, I love that it does go to a good cause. And like the community was so involved in bringing this back and like not only creating the rivalry, but they brought it back and they said, all right, the best thing about the internet, because Twitter is most of the time, Twitter and the internet is an absolute cesspool. But
Yes.
every once in a while, you get something really pure and beautiful to come out of it. And that's what happened here.
Mhm.
So I mean, if I could call it a very high, I would, because I think it's just fantastic. I love it. It's awesome. It's everything that, like, you know, we should be about as a people. So it's high for me. I loved it. This was a really great. I had no idea that it went this deep. So this is awesome. Yeah.
Joe?
All right. So looks, I'm going to go 4.75, just so I'm not, following Mike's. It's pretty cool. The gold plate, a barista built this thing. 40 hours went into it. It's a 4.7. You know what? Let's do 5. Let's go 5.
Yeah, attaboy.
So it's a 5 for looks. History, I'm going to go with 5 just because the history, it came from Twitter. It came from the people. It's a newer rivalry, so it doesn't necessarily have a traditional history, but the way that it came about and the cause that it goes for, I'm giving that a 5 just because of the meaning of it. The rivalry itself, I'm giving 3. It is close. I like that it's close, and that's why I went 3. I was going to go 2, but since it's a close rivalry, and it's not necessarily a big, it's not your Alabama, Auburn, it's not your Michigan, Michigan State, your Michigan, Ohio State. It's not one of those, but I do like that it's close. So I'll go 3. And then overall, it's a top tier. So the charity itself, I think, makes it a top tier. I was a little bit disappointed that I hadn't heard of this one yet. So I'm hoping that not necessarily our podcast, but I think just over time, it will gain more and more popularity. And I think hopefully that will increase the donations and increase, the word on this trophy. So I like that. And I'm riding with Nebraska. Nothing against the Masonic Children's Hospital, but
see, for
go
me,
Nebraska.
Row the boat, Sky Umont, go Gophers, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Maybe we'll do a friendly wager on that, and then
I will. I absolutely will. Yeah, let's do it.
We'll update on Instagram.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, it's looks as a 4. I think it's pretty cool. It's unique. I mean, it's a broken chair, and it looks cool. Like a chair could be pretty lame, but I think that they did a good job, and I think both iterations of it was pretty cool. The history is an easy 5, just from start to finish. Like you guys have mentioned, like the internet being involved and it really being a fan-driven trophy, and then the fact that they by themselves decided to include it for creating an annual charity. I think that just is really awesome. The rivalry, I put at a 3.5. I think it's really cool. I think that they had the 2 distinct eras of dominance between the two. I'm glad that they play every year since 2011 and into the future. I also hope that it becomes pretty competitive because both programs should be better than they are. And hopefully in the future, when they get better, it'll bring more awareness to this game as well. So this is going to be a top tier for me. This was a top tier similar to Cyhawk. And I think the thing that really always puts it over the top for me beyond the charity part is just the fact that it's fan driven. So that gets buy-in from fan bases, which just ultimately makes it even better.
Modern day bowling club guys coming up with a trophy.
Right.
And this is what you get.
Right. And the internet, then modern day.
Yeah. Twitter.
This is like the modern day version of the Cyhawk, which is really cool.
And I do want to note just something here. I'll share this on social too, but this is the first time that we've had 5s across the board in a category, and also the first time that we've had highs across the board in a category. So 5s across the board for history, as well as it should be, and high across the board for the tiers. So I love it, man. It's so cool, man. It's just,
and it's one that surprised me. Obviously I had never even heard of this because it is relatively new, So when I remember looking and creating the episode schedule and just, getting a glimpse at what some of these trophies are, obviously I knew the majority of them, but there were definitely a handful I had no idea. This was one of them, and I really didn't know what to expect. And then once I started to get into the history of it, it was just awesome. And I was so excited to be able to share this with you guys.
And that's the cool thing too, I think, about college football is that, like, when we look at all of these trophies, like, they've all had like history throughout the years and, like, stuff like that. Like, we've been going back and forth for so long. Like, some of these trophies go back to World War II and everything. It's like, the fact that this trophy came out recently, like, it's still a sport that, like, is reinventing itself and reinventing its history. And I just, again, love the fact that Twitter, when Twitter comes together and does something good, it really gets it right. And I think it definitely got right this time, because most of the time it's an absolute cesspool of hate and vitriol towards other people. And but every once in a while, man, they get it right, and they sure did here. So I love it. So just a reminder here. Oh, Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, I just got, and this might be where you're going. Just a plug for teamjackfoundation.org is if you want to go to donate to Team Jack. And then I believe the other one is crowdfund.umn.edu for the University of Minnesota Masonic Children's Hospital.
And if you look in the episode description, I'll include both those links if I can. I assume I can.
Yeah.
And then I'll include it in our social too.
So there's also a site, and I sorry, EJ, if I'm stepping on your toes, there's a Rivalry. There's the Return of the $5 Bit Broken Trophy charity page. Mm-hmm. So you can go on brokenchairtrophy.com and you can donate to there's links on there to both donate for the Huskers and donate for the Gophers. So if you have any confusion or you're trying to look, if you want to check out both of them, there's information on there and you can click to donate.
Yeah, if you go through the website, I'm sure that they'll realize that it's the awareness was brought through the game. So that could be a cool way, and it's an easy way to find both links. Yeah, that was perfect. The only other thing,
we'll post on Instagram. So if you have any questions, hit us up, and it should be up there.
Let us know. And the only other thing I was going to say is just a reminder: this game will not be played this weekend. It will actually be played on October 16th in a couple of weeks. But we will make sure to remind the listeners that and have a preview of the actual game when we do that week's episode, which I believe is going to be the Old Brass Spittoon.
And again, guys, like, send us, if you donate because of this, like, send to us, like, guys, we should talk about this. Like, I don't know what we should do, but we should track the donations somehow and, like, do something, because we have a couple weeks, until the
2.5 weeks left.
Like, just keep sending them in and let's keep tracking. I don't know. We'll do something cool. Like, if you send something, donate to us, maybe we'll pick someone random, and I don't know, I'll send some swag or a hat or something like that.
We do have some merch coming coming soon. We have talked about it.
Time to get active. Get active on social media, and you might be the winner.
Yeah, we have some pretty cool merch coming soon.
Yeah, we'll take that offline. We'll circle back on that, and we're on a Zoom call, so you have to say circle back and take it offline. But we will do that, and we'll figure out. We'll do something really cool for someone who donates. So please do.
For sure. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us this week. So follow us on Instagram at whiskers.whiskies, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our Saturday AM betting posts, and please send us your favorite bets for the weekend. Always remember, sharing is caring, folks.
Sharing is caring.
So join us next week for a must-listen episode as we dive into a trophy that is near and dear to Joe and I's heart, the Paul Bunyan Trophy.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
For Mike and Joe, I'm EJ. Always remember, too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough.
Cheers, boys.